we're back up. Yeah, welcome everybody. I think I'm gonna wait just a second for people to reconnect here. But hope everybody is doing well on this Saturday night or whatever it is, wherever you are. Yeah, it's a nice night here on this planet. It's pretty peaceful, I guess. Weather blissful. Sentinels typical, so not too bad. So yeah, welcome. I thought what I would do here is next Wednesday. It's Saturday, August 10th, whatever. And next Wednesday, a major new update for No Man's Sky is going to hit. It's called the Beyond update. And what has happened in the past with a lot of these big updates is that the universe has reset. And what that has meant is that this is a game with an infinite procedurally generated world of star systems and planets and planet surfaces and all that kind of stuff. And if the developers tweak the randomness, the random generation stuff, a lot of times that will cause everything to be different. Because if they change an algorithm that generates everything, then the ripple effects of that are profound, and this planet becomes an ice planet with a big mountain where I'm standing right now, etc. So yeah, I thought part of why I would do this little stream here is to show off everything and just kind of document for posterity everything that I've built in the game during this past year of the next era of the game, as it's called. Yeah, because it might change. I haven't heard anything super concrete one way or the other that the universe is going to be reset. It's reasonable to assume it might be, so I figured that was yeah. So yeah. So part of what I'm going to be doing, that thing down there is a portal that you can use to input coordinates to different planets, to any planet in the entire galaxy. And then I also have a little base teleporter thing down there that will take me from here to any of the bases that I've built. So yeah. Yeah. And yeah, joining me is my partner, Steiger. We don't quite have the AV set up. It's something that we really want to get set up. Hello. It's something that we really want to have set up for future streams. Like part of the Beyond update is that there's going to be like a ton of multiplayer features. So it'll be really easy to like join up with people and visit their bases and all that kind of stuff. So we definitely want to be playing it together. They have a new computer. And yeah, so that'll be cool. What I would love to have for future streams of many sorts, not just No Man's Sky, is basically get a second microphone running in. We tried connecting with like a Google Hangout thing, and that you get like a half-second audio lag between what the person in the room is saying and what you're hearing in your ear, and that's like just... Yeah, and I have to let that pipe through so that y'all on the stream can hear it. So anyway, we're working on a way of getting, both of us talking to the stream at once. But for now, yeah, we're just, connected to the same session. So yeah, and we can talk on text chat, I guess. I haven't used this thing that much actually, but yeah. Hey, there we go. So yeah, and I actually have not played this game multiplayer very much at all, so there's a whole bunch about how stuff works in multiplayer that I'm not entirely clear on. Like, we just found out that, like, I summoned my little vehicle here, and they cannot board it, but yeah. But we're going to be going to a different planet soon, so yeah. Anyway, okay, so yeah, all of that out of the way. Video is getting a bit choppy. Okay, seems smooth now. Yeah, I'm not actually sure Yeah, I also don't know how the stream quality and stuff like that interacts with. I don't know how the how streaming interacts with multiplayer. I mean, obviously we're both sending and receiving a bunch of data, but I don't think that should interfere with what we're doing here. I mean, let me know if the stream quality gets bad and is more than a minor hiccup or something. But yeah. So anyway, I thought a big part of what I would do, this planet right here, there's not really much to the base aside from I built like just that little deck lookout thing here. I wanted a base that so that I could have what is called a base teleporter right next to a portal, because this is kind of like a phone dialer where I can punch in. I can punch in all these different glyphs that correspond with numeric coordinates and go anywhere in the galaxy. Whereas this thing, I interact with it, and it just takes me to any of my bases, any of the star systems that I've visited, and other people's bases. So if you see a base name that's hilarious, like Big Willie here, that is not my base. I would cop to it if I had named a base Big Willie. Yeah, so yeah, let me save here. Yeah, so I really just built this on, this planet is like fairly nice and pleasant, and I spent a fair bit of time just exploring the system, but it is not my home system by a long shot. This is actually in the Galactic Hub, or it's just off the beaten path in the Galactic Hub. It's the Galactic Hub, for those who don't know, is basically a bunch of players decided to all go to even before there was any kind of multiplayer in this game, a bunch of players figured out how to determine what coordinates, what in the galaxy they were at, and they all went to a similar place and found that the stars and planets and stuff there were the same, which makes sense because it's all being generated from the same random seed and algorithm and all that stuff. And so people started exploring a group of space together, and then obviously once the game got multiplayer, it was like, okay, well, yeah, now this stuff is even more important, and I imagine it will take on even more significance with the new update coming Wednesday. So yeah, I of course had to go to the Galactic Hub and see it for myself. Actually, let me just go ahead and open up. I think my entire screen is streaming here. So yeah, there's a few things that I wanted to show off here. Yeah, let's see. So this is a page that I set up on my website. That is basically I wanted to document all of. Oh no! Is the video gone for? Let's see here. Wait, we have face cam? Why do we have face cam? I don't have my camera. I didn't mean to have my camera on right now. Yeah, I mean, do you see like my web browser and stuff like that? Yeah. No, I'm sorry, folks. I alt tabbed over to my to my computer to my desktop. I alt tabbed out of the game to the desktop. Like, yeah, I'm gonna scroll down here. Okay, so it's like, it's the usual like 10-15 seconds behind or something, but whatever. Or maybe a little more behind. And then I scrolled down. Sorry, this must be like the 15 seconds or so. Okay, yeah, all right, yeah. You were still seeing what I wanted you to see. Yeah, cool. Anyway, this is a page on my website that I made to document all of the bases, or like most of the bases that I've built. And yeah, just because like there wasn't an easy way to do it from within the game, maybe that'll change next week. But yeah, it's my website is vectorpoem.com / and then this page is /nms. Yeah. The other thing that I did is I have an account on the decentralized social network Mastodon. It's a cool, like, kind of open, federated Twitter alternative. And a while ago, back in like October, I started keeping a travel log of my travels in the game, starting with my journey to the Galactic Hub. And I got here and was like, wow, look at these cities that people built, and wow, the capital planet of the Galactic Hub is this planet with these cool, like, 8-meter tall dinosaur things. And so yeah, like, you can, like, I think I link this from, yeah, like, I link my travel log from the page on my website, and yeah, I posted screenshots and stuff like that, and yeah, it just keeps on going. Because yeah, I've been just updating it in a big long thread. So yeah, anyway, that's something you can check out. And yeah. So yeah. So yeah, now let's go to... So we're in the Galactic Hub. We're at this little base that I made on a little out-of-the-way planet. Let me use my base teleporter here to... this is actually... This thing up at the top, JP's old home, is actually my home planet from way, way back, like 2 years ago now. More... Yeah, God, longer than that even. But yeah, let me go to... Let me go to the Pilgrim Star Visitor Center. And yeah, thanks for the feedback on the streaming, on the streaming system and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, you should be able to go in the base teleporter near right across from the portal opening. I'm pretty sure you can use my base teleporter to travel to any of my bases. Yeah, it's just a little deck I built. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's kind of a mini Stargate, kind of a scanner thingy. Anyway, yeah, Steiger will be along. Yeah, so this is one of the bases that I built. It's called the Pilgrim Star Visitor Center because way back in the very early days of this game, before any of the big updates had come, like only within a week or two of the game coming out in August of 2016, I believe, one player decided to see if he could walk all the way around a planet. Because these planets really are, like, the sense of scale in this game is just absolutely dwarfing. I mean, this planet is rainy and foggy all the time in this incarnation of it. But yeah, this player, whose name I forget at the moment... oh, great, yeah. Yeah, see, this planet got regenerated as a super stormy hell world. But yeah, a player decided to try to walk all the way around a planet. And it took him, like, days of playing, but he did. And he streamed, like, the last hour of it. And so we have, like, recorded for posterity him finally coming back around to find his ship where he had landed and set off in the other direction. And a lot of people were watching. And it was this really, like, cool, positive moment for a community that had kind of been through a lot around the game's release and stuff. And so it became sort of mythologized almost, you know? And so the star system where this player did this got to be called the Pilgrim Star. And so I heard about this, and of course this was like, you know, a year or two later. And I decided, like, hey, I found the coordinates of that planet and visited it, and found that it was, you know, it had become, I think back in the day that he did this, it had become like a snowy planet. And then it, you know, with one of the big universe resets, it had become like this tropical world of constant rainstorms and like scalding hot rain. Yeah, you can see that temperature there, 329 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, that's still a whole lot. That's well above boiling temperature for those in Celsius land. But yeah, and the original planet was called Dudenbomodim, I guess. And so yeah, this is my little monument that I built to the Pilgrim of Dudenbomodim. And yeah, just because I wanted to honor what that player had done and build like a little, yeah. And so this thing is kind of in the style of like a natural park visitor center. So I built like a little, this is like a gift shop where there's like different little, tchotchkes on display, and just a nice like couch where when the weather is nice out, at least you can sit down and look out across here. And yeah, and I've got a little, I've got a little message ball here that has the URL to that page that I linked to y'all at the beginning of this stream, or a little earlier. And yeah, and this is like the little gift shop counter, where you can ring up your purchases. You cannot actually do these things, but this is a theme that you'll see with some of the other bases I've built, where there are some things that you can't, like, you don't actually like buy stuff from shops that are in player-built bases yet. Again, that may change next week. But yeah, I just wanted something that felt like a little counter where you could buy a little souvenir and all that. I suppose it says something that I, recreated capitalism in my little natural park base here, but such is the world that we are currently living in. And yeah, I built like a little robot buddy that's sort of hanging around, maybe answering questions and, ringing up people or whatever. And yeah, yeah, and then I built like a little ship landing pad out here for visitors. Yeah, so that's about all there is to. And yeah, there's a portal that's actually like quite close by. I basically chose an arbitrary place on this planet to build the visitor center, and I decided that since I wanted people to be able to visit it easily, I found the glyphs for that portal over there, and just chose a suitable location that was up in this ridge. Oh, look at that! Totally lousy weather, but we can at least see a rainbow over there. And yeah, that's one thing that somebody discovered very recently in this game. Is that the windows that you can build in your bases are, what's the term for it? Polarizing? Anyway, you can see the rainbow here crystal clear through this window. And yeah, the rainbows were something that they added in an update last November called Visions. They added a bunch of visual variation to stuff, and they added rainbows. And the rainbows are great, and I smile every time I see them. They're somewhat rare. But yeah. Well, cool. That's about it for the visitor center here. Yeah, I think we're seeing some of the native wildlife here, like these little blobby hopping creatures. Yeah, I guess they just don't mind the rain that much. And then, yeah, there's like these kind of bat bird things. Apparently they dine on nip-nip buds, which are a thing you can grow in farms. They don't actually eat them from your farms, but again, that may change in the new update. Anyway, let's move on. Let's go to our base terminal, our base teleporter here. And, yeah, Portal Lodge 1 is where we started off at. Vikea Home Furnishings number 5 is another thing, is a base that another player built in this same system. And as you could probably tell from the name, it's a pun on IKEA Home Furnishings. And it's really, it's quite charming, actually. Yeah, this player built a base that is in the style of an IKEA retail place with displays and stuff like that. So yeah, if you visit, when you visit a system via a portal, you can move anywhere in that system. So you'll come through that portal there, and then your ship will be right there, and you can take off and visit any of the other bases that people have built in this system, of which there are a few, I guess. So yeah, people have returned to the old. When I came here, there was really the planet had kind of been mostly forgotten. It wasn't called Dudenbomodim anymore, and so I just, yeah, it had already been named, but I knew that this was the planet because there were some message nodes that people had left behind, some of which were buried deep beneath now regenerated terrain. So that was really interesting to see. Anyway, yeah, let's go to some other. Yeah, let's go to New Arcadia. This base is named after a level I made for another game a long time ago now called BioShock. And I just like the idea. I just like the sound. It sounded like a good sci-fi name. In sci-fi, it's always new something. New London is in the Alpha Centauri system or whatever. That's one thing that I like about this game, is that it does feel like a kind of utopian science fiction, in that, like, you know, there's still conflict, but like there is sort of like this infinite amount of space to explore, and so there's not like some of that vicious, you know, competition of like rival dueling empires and stuff like that, you know, and basically all the stuff that sucks about the real world. You know, it's sort of a deliberate choice to, you know, to portray, you know, when you're building a sci-fi universe, you're making statements about what you think the future could or should, or, you know, might unfortunately be like, or something. But yeah, okay, so this is the new Arcadia base, and this is a base that I built on, it's a planet called Gaines Folly, I believe, and it is considered an entry point into the galactic hub. So you see all those message nodes, those are all like little messages that players have met there. And there's a portal, that's because it's right outside of a portal, and so I think people get out of that portal and they're just like, they just immediately want to put down a little message. But yeah, this planet, like all this stuff that we're seeing here, is stuff that other players have built, like those two big towers there and this bridge and just all these weird structures. There's like a little church type building that somebody built like around here, I think. And yeah, we can get out and go explore a lot of this stuff. And yeah, there's another base that people have built down there. So I got here and it was already somewhat built up, but I just chose oh yeah, and there's like a cool dome bubble base going on up there. So yeah, so I got here and I was like, I want to build a base here, and I might as well, yeah, and this is my farm, like all various, you know, usable crafting components that I've grown here. And so I chose this yeah, and it has a whole rooftop thing that you can get to from the inside or the outside. There's like some trinkets of travels to more exotic, strange planets that you don't necessarily see. Yeah, and I'm going to go into photo mode here, which lets you fly the camera around freely. And yeah, so you can see I built it up on a hill here. And yeah, I just kind of wanted a nice view and stuff, and this hill was unclaimed. This big thing right here is actually a native plant. This is like a fungal world, so all the native plants are like big mushroom and just weird fungusy things. And then I built some artificial plants on the inside to keep it company. But I started with this. This thing was just growing out of the ground here, and I just started building this base around it because I liked the idea of keeping a natural feature in play. So yeah. Yeah, and I built these like domes here just because I knew people would be running across it, and just, you know, like, it's when somebody harvests something from your game, it doesn't from their game, it doesn't take it away in your game. So it's basically just like providing free resources to people. And yeah, I built like a little motorcycle pad here. This is one of the vehicles. It's called the Pilgrim. This craft is named the Pilgrim by the game's developers after the Pilgrim, of which I built that monument to. So so yeah, and so now we're just kind of tooling around terrain here. And yeah, and you can see like a lot of these base pieces of stuff that people have built is like blinking in, because I think right now, I'm guessing that this is stuff that they've improved in the new update coming next week. But yeah, like sometimes, like, I think the game can only cope with a certain amount of stuff that players have built, because it's got to stream all that stuff in from a server basically that the developers run. Wow, yeah, people have built all kinds of wild stuff here since the last time I visited. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff that, yeah, like people, you know, this is probably like multiple people's bases. And yeah, there's just all kinds of little like decorations, and yeah, it's popping in and out because, yeah, people have just built like strange sculptures out of different stuff, and you can put down little decals, and some people have figured out how to combine them into like cool kind of graffiti looking art. And yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, there's my own base back up there. Yeah, this planet, I mean, it's definitely no fun when it's raining, but yeah, I think I should be able to travel to any of my bases through their teleporter. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's go to. Yeah, let's go to a base. Let's go to another base. Is the stream a bit of a slideshow for anyone else? Yeah. That's a bummer. I could, yeah, geez. Well, I could... I mean, I could cut down the... I could restart the stream with a lower bit rate, I guess. No, I'm guessing it's not... I mean, I've seen people stream No Man's Sky at perfectly good quality before. It's possible our internet connection is falling down. I mean, I've streamed this game before, so I don't know what... Yeah, and I mean, I guess Steiger is watching the stream, but that's taking downstream, not upstream. You know, and if the stream is low quality, then that's a sign that my upstream upload bandwidth is being taxed. And like, the only thing that should be, you know, that it should be occupied with really is the stream itself. Let me jump out to my OBS settings here. Whoa, yeah. Yeah, I don't necessarily want the video capture device on here. Yeah, I guess I could, yeah, it's at 2100 kilobits per second, which, like, you know, should be able to do pretty well. I mean, I guess, geez. I guess it might be taxing, is it taxing my CPU a whole bunch? Yikes. That might be it. Yeah, I mean, it's going to look fine on my desktop because it's not having to do nearly as much work to encode a mostly static image of the desktop. Yeah, let me jump out and like run around and stuff like that. Sorry for some real-time troubleshooting here. Yeah, and I guess it's possible that if something like, I mean, yeah, if the game is really gobbling up CPU because it's loading in a new area or something, then it's possible that is... Yeah, okay, so it's maxing my CPU when I'm running around. So, I don't know. I mean, it should be able to deal with that semi-pragmatically. I don't know, yeah. I mean, I think the long and short of it is that any drops in stream quality, I can't necessarily do anything about that right now. I know that pro streamers have like a setup where they have a whole separate computer that isn't being taxed by running a game at all, and then they're feeding their output, their video output into that. We only have 2 computers in this house, so I don't know. Can't do anything about that necessarily, but seems like it's related to chunking. Well, yeah, all right. Well, I'm just going to continue. I mean, please continue to give me feedback in the stream chat about low quality, but yeah. If it also goes up while I'm going through a base teleporter, then that's kind of okay because it's mostly just 2001, you know, hyperspace vortex visual there. Whereas what we actually care about mostly is just like being on the planets and seeing stuff. Anyway, thank you for bearing with technical issues. Yeah, so this base is called The Cave, and it is named after another game that I worked on. Called The Cave. And yeah, I mainly, like, what I wanted to do here was build a base in a cave. yeah, as you can see, this thing is like protruding somewhat, but it's built out of a natural cleft in the rock here. Like, I landed on this planet and was just looking around and stuff, and I saw, you know, different features and was like, yeah, okay, this seems like a good cave system to build in. And so, yeah. Yeah, let me see if I can, yeah, and unfortunately, like, the terrain kind of regenerates around some of this stuff, so I'm going to carve away some of that nonsense so that I can actually move about in here. So yeah, it's like this structure that I just kind of built to fill partly like the negative space inside here. But yeah, the actual cave system stuff. Yeah, to the south tunnels. So yeah, I sort of like sealed off. I created like these, not airlock things, but like, yeah. And these cave systems are pretty strange. Like this one is like sort of narrow and skinny. And yeah, like it leads out various places. Like, yeah, it doesn't quite poke out anywhere there, but yeah. So yeah, if you visit this base, and yeah, you can find the portal coordinates for all of these bases on that page on my website. Yeah, if you visit this base, yeah, you might enjoy exploring all the weird cave systems and stuff beneath this giant snowy mountain thing. The rest of the base itself, yeah, there's like some vortex cube treasures. This is just like my storage unit stuff. And yeah, there's one thing here that is actually something that all of my bases have, which is a little Easter egg. So I am a game level designer by trade, and I decided that, you know, it's always fun when you can find like secrets and collectibles in games. So I decided that I would give players who bother to visit my bases, type in those glyphs and visit these bases, a little Easter egg to find in each one of my bases. And so I settled on this little statue of a bronze Diplo. That's what this creature is called by the community, a Diplo, because it kind of looks like, I guess, a Diplodocus. Anyway, this is a thing that the game, this is a little decoration item that the game lets you build. I've hidden one of these in every single one of my bases on that page. So yeah, and this one isn't very difficult to you know, if you're just passing through here, you might see that thing poking its little head up, or you might not. But yeah, some of them are more well hidden than this one, and some of them are, you know, more obvious, such as the one at the Pilgrim Star Visitor Center, where it's just hidden among all the other little trinkets. So yeah, that's the cave. Yeah, and that's about all I have to show off for that base. And yeah, like it's on a nice ice planet. I built it with this nice view, with both access to the cave system and also this nice view. Yeah, it's just got like this nice kind of system of lakes and stuff. The weather does get, it does blizzard occasionally, and the sentinels here are grumpy. Yeah, the sentinels are hostile. So I figured it was also kind of a cool thing to, like, these robots show up and try to kick your butt every time you, like, mine stuff or whatever. So I decided it would be kind of cool to, like, have a cave base to hide from them in. These are little atmosphere harvesters that suck useful gases out of the atmosphere. And yeah, that's one of my ships. It's a fancy ship. Alright, so let's hit the base teleporter again. And yeah, where should we go next? Let's go to House on the Rock. House on the Rock is named after a real-world place in central Wisconsin, I guess. It's a really weird place. It's a place that it's like sort of a museum slash tourist curiosity sort of thing, where this eccentric collector guy built a strange house, collected a whole bunch of weird stuff. Like there's a collection. There's an entire room that's just full of like 19th century prosthetic legs. There's a room that's just full of like different kinds of like I'm trying to remember, like teacups and stuff like that. And one of the features that it has is called the Infinity Room, and you go through this bizarre, house and all that. Yes, House on the Rock is actually seen in American Gods. They ride the carousel there. Yeah, seen in the TV series and in the book American Gods. I don't think they mention much of the rest of it. They mainly focus on the carousel as like this center of eldritch power in the world or something. But the Infinity Room is part of the newer construction of the thing, and it's this sort of modernist thing that actually the house itself is built on a relatively stable like geological feature, and then the Infinity Room is just a glass tunnel that suspends out over, and I'll fly the camera outside of this to show off. Yeah, so it just extends out over what is in the Wisconsin, the real House on the Rock, the forest canopy. And in this case is just a vast desert scape with weird plateaus and a big shipwreck. And yeah, there's some NPC ships flying around. So yeah, I just built it up on this big weird thing. Just, wild desert plateau things. And yeah, I just wanted to have a base that was just like kind of sticking out like this. And I built like a little, and yeah, so in the real House on the Rock, you can walk to the end of the Infinity Room and like look out, over the forest canopy and kind of see just how suspended you are over it and stuff like that. And then yeah, the rest of the space I haven't really developed that much. It has like 2 landing pads and stuff, but it's not that exciting, honestly, as bases go. So yeah. So let's just move on. All right. Yeah, let's go to Rainbow Farms. Yeah, so Rainbow Farms is, you can build farms in this game and use them to accrue resources that you can use to craft things that are worth a lot of money. Money is good for like buying ships and other resources that you need. Yeah, and I also just kind of liked the idea of having an interesting space farm somewhere. Where I chose to build my farm here is it is deep beneath the ocean. There was an update last October called the Abyss Update that greatly expanded the options for underwater exploration and construction. There's like all kinds of cool, scary undersea monsters and stuff that will come after you now. It's very cool. And so yeah, I decided I was going to build an underwater base here. And yeah, so that's what this is. Unfortunately, it seems like... So there are like these big coral features here. Yeah, just these massive like bone coral type things. And I can take them out, but they have an unfortunate habit of growing back. And so what I'm going to do now is like just mine this thing away, and that will hopefully... Yeah, and so they grow back even if they are interpenetrating like a base element here. So that's kind of a bummer. I hope they fix that. But as you can see, this is an undersea base. Here I am just, swimming around in third person. And, this planet, high above... Yeah, you can see the surface of the water there and the sun shining through it. This is actually a torrid, boiling hot planet on the surface. Down here, it's actually, it's warm, but it's not like, scalding hot or anything. So I also kind of liked that about it, just like building an actually habitable, pleasant place, beneath the ocean of this hot planet. And yeah, this is like a moon pool. You can build moon pools that let you come up into your, your oxygenated base, as in the Abyss. And whatever. But yeah, this is the actual farm itself, and it's named for its cool little rainbow. You can choose the colors of different building components, and so I decided that it looked cool to have a pretty rainbow. And each of these are like little farming pods that have all the stuff that you need to craft a particularly high value trade item. And yeah, if you visit this base, then you can just harvest all the stuff and, you know, make a decent amount of money from doing that. I've decorated it with some undersea plant life, plants or corals or something like that. Those things over there are abyssal horrors. I'm not going to get near them, but they are scary, like, you know, terror creatures that will suck you towards them and all that. So that's pretty scary. Don't get near them. There's a little mini sub building pad. Yeah, I can lift up to the surface, and you can see what it looks like to enter this base from the surface side. There's a little landing pad, and yeah, as you can see, this is just right out in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, and this planet is extremely hot. There's, like, you know, various islands and stuff in every direction, but it does have pretty big stretches of ocean like this. And so yeah, this base is just built up out of the ocean. And you dock at the platform there, and you come in, and you see my little message. The drop is long, but it is perfectly safe. Got a nice little aquarium here, just because it looks cool. And then yeah, the drop that it's speaking of is this thing. It's just a long tube you drop down, and then you fall down that tube and down into the moon pool, and then you're in the base proper. So yeah, that's about all there is to this base. Yeah, just figured I would have a farm because it's one of the things you can build in this game. Yeah, what else we got here? Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of things here that aren't... yeah, these are all other people's bases. Yeah, sure, let's go to Pescadero. Pescadero is named after Pescadero, California, which is a tiny little town that is about, I don't know, 45 minutes drive south of San Francisco. And it's nice. You drive along the Pacific Coast Highway, very beautiful, and then you turn off that road and drive like 5 minutes inland a little bit, and you're at this small town called Pescadero. There's a nice tavern there called Duarte's Tavern, where you can get a really good artichoke and pepper soup. They grow, like, artichokes grow on farms all around Pescadero there, so that's really good. And they also have a killer ulala berry pie. Ulala berries are like they're like a hybrid between a raspberry and a blackberry, I guess, right? And yeah, and so they grow some of those on the premises, I'm told, and you can get a slice of ulala berry pie at Duarte's Tavern in Pescadero, California. Anyway, I've been there many times, and it's nice. And so I stumbled upon this planet that was fairly nice. The weather's just always peaceful, and I don't know, it's just cool. And it's in an uncharted system, so it feels kind of quiet and out of the way, you know. And yeah, and so I decided to name this base Pescadero in honor of that nice little place in the real world. Yeah, so I actually discovered this planet traveling through a black hole. Black holes in No Man's Sky, you go into them, and they take you to somewhere almost totally random in the galaxy. And so I didn't know where I was going, and I popped out here, and I found this little uncharted system. Seemed like a nice place. Built this little base here because I realized once I drew the coordinates for it that it was actually semi-close to the Pilgrim star, which was what I was trying to find at the time. So yeah, and so I was like, okay, cool. I can use this as like an outpost to then travel the long way without a black hole to get to the former site of the Pilgrim star, you know, the Pilgrim's journey. So yeah, this was just sort of like a stepping stone sort of thing. And I just like the planet. There's not really much to the actual base here. The weather is nice 24/7, so I just built a little platform here. I built this little enclosure here just so that I could have a little indoor trade terminal and all that. But yeah, that's about all there is to Neo Pescadero. There is a bronze Diplo here. It's a little bit tough to find, but yeah, I will leave finding that to anybody who visits. Someone in the chat says the fictional Pescadero State Hospital is where Sarah Connor was locked up in Terminator 2. That's a very cool detail. Pescadero State Hospital. I don't think Pescadero has a hospital in it, but yeah, I mean, it's an interesting, and there might be, there might be one down in LA or something called that, or for all I know. Yeah, let's see what else. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to go to a base called Hercules Monochrome Adapter. This is named after if you used a computer in the early to mid 80s, an IBM PC computer in the early to mid 80s, and the screen was all green and black or amber and black. You might have been seeing that through a type of graphics card in those days that was called a Hercules Monochrome Adapter or a Hercules Graphics Adapter. It was only two colors. It was only one color really. It was black and whatever color that your monitor did, which could be amber or green or white. And yeah, when I landed on this planet. This is a type of planet called a mega exotic, and on mega exotic planets, they're somewhat rare, and they have these very large structures or things that are probably plants. I mean, these things look like plants, but they're very, very tall. Like they just absolutely dwarf you when you're standing at the base of them. And what a lot of mega exotic planets also have is a very specific, the atmosphere causes things to look a very specific kind of color palette. And so you can see here that some of these planets are actually almost black and white with maybe one color shining through. This planet just had a particularly cool color scheme because a few things feel kind of bluish, but the rest of it is just very vivid amber. So that's why I named it Hercules Monochrome Adapter. And yeah, I also wanted to build a base. So this is actually, most of this structure is an alien trading post. And so it's got these little landing pads where different NPC ships are landing and taking off, and you can talk to them and trade with them or buy their ship. And then there's some of these, there's a fairly easy to find bronze Diplo, but yeah, that's what I placed there. This is a Viking outpost. That's what these folks are. They're sort of a Klingon type warrior race. But yeah, this is a trade platform. So when I built this base, I just kind of built something on top of it. So this stuff right here is my structural addition, and then I put the actual base teleporter up on this very prominent location here. But yeah, it's cool looking, and there are really big tunnels on this planet that that you can go driving around it. They're way big enough to fit a vehicle in, and so that's worth checking out. I'm realizing that I'm talking about this y'all can go visit, but it's possible that you will not be able to visit this planet next Wednesday because it might all go away. Who knows? I guess we'll see. Yeah. Well, cool. I'm kind of wondering if I should linger a bit or move on. I mean, this is definitely an above average cool planet. Yeah. Yeah, and the grass are these little kind of loopy deals. All right, I'm gonna summon in my little motorcycle vehicle. Try to find one of these cave systems here. I upgraded this vehicle so it can do cool drift turns and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, it seems like this might be an entrance into the cave systems. Yeah, so this is one of the cool things about No Man's Sky is that, like, yeah, you have, like, different types of terrain and different biomes for planets and stuff like that. Oh, gosh. The camera is not very well behaved. I do hope they fix this. Like, when you're in this vehicle specifically and you're, like, riding along the ground, the camera can misbehave sometimes. But, yeah, like, in addition to just, like, cool, like, foliage and creatures and stuff, sometimes the procedurally generated terrain just creates really interesting shapes. And yeah, you just get like these wild like cave system type things. And so yeah, like I landed on this planet and liked it enough to build a base just because of the cool color scheme and stuff, but I also really liked that there was just, you know, neat stuff to explore here. Yeah, these tunnels are actually kind of tight. But some of the tunnels are, like, very large. Oh, geez, is this a dead end? Boo. Alright, well, I'm going to tunnel my way out of it, because that's the thing you can do in this game. There we go. Yeah, you're never stuck for too long in this game. You're never stuck underground. Unless you don't have a terrain manipulator or you're out of juice for one, I guess. And it kind of looks like nighttime is setting here. Like, it gets like sort of a deep reddish amber when night falls on this planet. And then like the terrain itself like takes on sort of a bluish cast, so alright. There is not a first-person view in that vehicle right now. However, one of the things that the update on Wednesday is adding is VR support, which does have fully modeled vehicle and like ground vehicle and ship interiors. That's a cool-looking ship. Looks kind of Star Wars X-wingy. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that will be available to non-VR players as well, that you'll just be able to go into first-person mode in your vehicle interior. So that should be pretty cool. Alright, so that was Hercules Monochrome, or what was it? Yeah, Hercules Monochrome adapter, or whatever. Let's see, let's go to Bob's Starbase. So Bob's Starbase is named after a now defunct and gone video arcade that was in San Rafael, California, where I lived when I worked at 2K Marin. San Rafael's like just you drive north across the Golden Gate Bridge and you're in Marin County, and San Rafael is a town that's a little ways up the highway there, about halfway between the bridge and where I worked at 2K Marin in Novato. And yeah, there was this little video arcade down 4th Street called Bob's Starbase, and it had been around since the golden age, I believe, of the 80s. And it was just a cool place, and like it had a whole bunch of like old classic things that were administered to by this older guy named Bob, and he just clearly really loved, you know, running an arcade and was knowledgeable about the games, and he had some fairly rare stuff. He had like a variant Miss Pac-Man board that had like different mazes and stuff. It was pretty interesting. And then like in 2013 or so, I guess, it had been a couple of years since I had been back, I read that it had been closed. And so I built this base and named it Bob's Starbase, kind of in honor of that place. And yeah, what I wanted to build here was actually a... yeah, let me go down here and fly out with the camera so you can see. This thing is floating. This is a basically low orbital base. You know, you can see, yeah, and you can see some of the other platforms I built. So the way that I built this base, you can see like way down there. I installed a base computer and claimed the base, and then started building up and doing kind of like a you know, like build up some, delete, reclaim the resources from what I had built up, and then build up some more. And it took like a good, you know, took like a good couple of hours to build up this far. Into like low orbit around this. This is a desolate planet. This is like basically a moon-like planet with basically no atmosphere, lower gravity, and no real plants or animals to speak of. And yeah, they're very like they have their own. They feel very eerie and quiet, and you know, basically like Earth's moon. And I was like, yeah, let me build like a cool floating base above this thing. And yeah, and there's like a landing strip on the ground, but then there's also like multiple landing pads up here. And yeah, I didn't really know what to. There wasn't really anything in the No Man's Sky building repertoire to stand in for like arcade machines. But I built like this little galaxy map type thing here. So yeah, that's good old Bob's Starbase. Oh yeah, and there's like a little section in here. Yeah, these are just like storage lockers. So yeah, that's good old Bob's Starbase. Yeah, you can hear the eerie wind. Cool. All right, let's move on. Data Boy in the chat says, with how much of your personal experiences you associated with these worlds, are you sorry to possibly see it all get erased? Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is kind of a bummer. I mean, I built this stuff knowing that it could happen. You know, I kind of figured that there could be another update someday that would reset the universe and erase it all. So if that does happen, you know, that's part of why I'm doing this stream. I just wanted to like have kind of one more, you know, like have a video documentation of one more good look at this place before it goes away. So yeah, you know, yeah, let's go to Chihiro's house. So you might recognize the name if you've seen the Studio Ghibli Hayao Miyazaki film Spirited Away. It's just one of my favorite films of all time. It's this beautiful animated fantasy film about a girl who ends up in a spirit world. And there is just one particular shot from that film that we're seeing it from a train. The train is going through this landscape that's like mostly flooded. It's just water as far as you can see. And there's just this one shot where there's like this tiny little island with a very ordinary looking house on it. And the shot comes and goes in about 3 seconds or so. But I just found it a completely captivating little thing in the middle of this, you know, wonderful film. And so I decided to try and recreate that shot as a No Man's Sky base. So this is an uncharted system. There's no Starbase in it or anything. This is just out in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And so I found a planet with like large oceans with only very occasional islands and stuff. And so I recreated that shot as best I could using like the things. And yeah, it's like this two-story house, and there's a tree on the far side of the tiny little island from it. Yeah, and I basically just built a little house here. Oh geez, I guess the terrain has grown over this, so yeah, let me clear that out. Yeah, this is something that, yeah, like the terrain will grow back sometimes, and you don't necessarily know what causes it or not. And yeah, it's sort of a bummer. It basically just kind of disrupted my little home interior here, but it's not that important really. Like, you know, I just created like a little couch and work table. I guess this sort of stands in for a kitchen type thing. I guess cooking is going to be another thing that's coming in the new update. You're going to be able to like gather ingredients and cook for people and stuff. I have no idea how any of that's going to work. It sounds amazing. There's another very easy to find bronze Diplo just sitting right by the bed. And yeah, so yeah, that's Chihiro's house, and there's a little balcony out back. I mean, I'm just purely you know, like we only ever see one view of this house in the movie, but I figured having a little deck out back would be nice. And yeah. Cheese, longtime, community member and just all around excellent person, Cheese, in the chat is saying, I feel like maybe this game is helping to make people think about preserving and chronicling digital spaces who might otherwise not think about that stuff. Yeah, I mean, that is something that I care about. People build stuff in MMOs that then later get shut down, and people build stuff in this game where, there's no ill will meant by resetting the universe. It's just the developers continuing to improve their creation. But this stuff does go away. And I do think it's cool to preserve it. Just like take screenshots. It's like taking photos of a place that you go to a restaurant or something, and you hear that it's closing down because the owners have to close up shop or something. I think that those things are important and worth preserving in memory, if nothing else. So that's I think that's cool to do. And yeah, building stuff in a computer world is like especially fraught because it has no real physical existence at all. But yeah. All right, let's go to a base that I only claimed recently just because it was on a planet that I had found that I just liked it was just distinctive enough that I liked the look of it. And yeah, I built only like a tiny little shred of a base there, but I just kind of wanted to be able to teleport back to it. Yeah, someone in the chat says that Spirited Away shot has been my wallpaper for years. It's gorgeous. Yeah, it was my wallpaper for many years and might still be on my laptop. Yeah, it's just this lovely little like sort of surreal image. Yeah, so this is another mega exotic world. And yeah, you might recognize some of those structures from Hercules Monochrome adapter. But yeah, this is entirely... it's not black and white, as you can see, but it's like black and pink, basically, or like gray and pink. And this ship is normally blue, but the atmosphere of this planet has filtered it such that that it looks like this. And I just liked these island shapes. Like, let me fly up here. Yeah, you can see how these islands, I mean, yeah, there's some more conventional land shapes, but there's these plateau type things that sort of snake off into the distance. So it has that, that very like Roger Waters' Yes album cover feel. I mean, there's so many things in No Man's Sky that feel like they're specifically citing, Roger Waters' paintings. But yeah, these kinds of things especially, just because this is sort of like compositionally strong. And I didn't really know what to build here. Like I built that teleporter there, and then I just built like this little platform with like a table and 2 chairs, just to be like, yeah, I don't know. I just like the image of like sitting here and having tea and just looking out across this bizarre planet. But yeah. Yep. Yeah, and I called it La Rose Noire. The Black Rose. Yep, clouds, some other planets in the sky. One of them has cool rings. Yeah, that's kind of all there is to that base. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of these other bases are other people's. Yeah, let me go to Mount Loper. So, yeah, so Mount Loper is a planned colony that people built. There have been several such planned colonies. Mount Loper, the coordinates of it are private, actually, and I had to apply I had to apply to be able to settle for it. And then the person coordinating it sent me the actual coordinates and gave me a specific plot of land to build on. So so yeah, and part of the reason that they did that is because, like, normally everybody can just claim a base wherever and just build up on top of one another. The intention, as I understand it, with the Mount Loper colony is that everybody has a distinct plot of land, and they're just far away enough from each other that they can build roads across large stretches of terrain to each other's bases. And so everybody has like their own kind of like plot of land and their own yard, and they can build whatever they want. You know, it's like, yeah, you can build, you know, you can build a big house, you can build a giant tower, you can do all kinds of weird stuff, but, you know, they want you to build these roads and just kind of participate in this community. And so, yeah, here we are in my... And yeah, one of the things about Mount Loper, the planet that it is on, is that it has very extreme cold weather. Like if we pop up out of here, then you'll see. All right, it's not storming right now, but it will. But it probably will soon. It's a very harsh, yeah, negative 148 Fahrenheit. Very harsh planet, and yeah. And so the first thing I did when I got here was I just dove down into this cave system that was on my newly claimed little plot of land, and just built a very minimal base type thing with a teleporter in there. And yeah, I quickly saw that one of the native animals here is this giant, majestic diplo. What's it called? T. apislecium. It has an armored skull, apparently. It eats by nibbling at shoots. Does long-distance migration. So yeah, and then yeah, you can see these icons for other players' bases elsewhere. Let me get into my ship, actually, and... yeah, let me take off here. Alright, so... yeah, and so one of the things that I found on my land was this plateau, which I had to build, like, I had to carefully build up to. And then I built like a tiny little cottage here, and then I went up to the summit here and looked out across this view of the Mount Loper range. And then yeah, you can kind of see there's somebody else's base up here. And yeah, I don't know how well this is going to load in. So yeah, this is another player's base, and they have gone the full effort to build these are the roads. So basically you can get in one of those vehicles and drive along these roads and end up at another player's base. And yeah, this planet seems to have like these natural like little craters basically that actually have like water, and you know, and so yeah, this player has chosen to build a base down in there. I think they also have something, yeah, like hanging up on this precipice here. So they've kind of built out over that. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, just so the different ways that players have built bases to interact with each other's bases is a really neat thing about Mount Loper. And yeah, the actual distances between these things are pretty significant. So here's another player's base. I think the game is struggling to like load some different stuff in from the server. I can see a vehicle down there. Yeah. See, they've built like the big Mako-like tank mining vehicle. Yeah. And yeah, and there's more roads going this way and that. The game is doing its best to draw those in and load them as best it can. But yeah, this is a very interesting planet, and I think this overall, this like experiment in community is very cool. And yeah, I hope people keep doing stuff like this. Just because having the concept of a neighborhood is sort of an interesting one. It's definitely something that MMO type games and stuff have explored really thoroughly. But in a game like this, where there's effectively infinite space to spread out over and stuff. Yeah. And then yeah, like my land actually does have its own little crater and I built a little lookout point at the edge of it. But I haven't really actually worked much on this thing yet. Like, I basically built a few kind of more basic structures, and I built like that little cave thing. Wow, yeah, and the game is really having trouble like loading in terrain LODs. Oh, geez. Wow, yeah, we're in... Oh, this is not good. This is like a lower LOD of the world terrain. Okay, there we go. All right, figured it out. LOD, for those who aren't game developers, it means level of detail. And a very common trick to make big landscapes like this run, like render at, you know, acceptable performance levels, is to render lower detail versions of the same geometry at greater distance. So when you look off at a mountain, it's only drawing like the most basic kind of outline of it, and then if you get up close to it, it swaps in the more high detail version of it with all kinds of little, you know, details. Yeah, so yeah, and if the stream quality is suffering, then it might be because my CPU was just trying to do what it could about streaming in different, you know, tiles or whatever. Yeah, so that's level of detail stuff. Yeah, it's... I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I'll wait for the stream to settle down a little bit. Yep. Cool. All right, so that is the beginnings of my little settlement on Mount Loper. Yeah, these are all the bases that I've been to so far. Let's see. Been to the Pilgrim Star Visitor Center. Mount Loper Seed Repository and Research. That's somebody else's base. I like that idea. Yeah, let's get out of this super cold planet and go to just a sort of nice, pleasant base. If it's not clear already, I definitely build these bases kind of just as much. I mean, in some cases I build like more of a real structure, but a lot of times I build bases just so that I can have a teleporter there as like kind of a bookmarking system, because it's like, this planet is cool and I just want to kind of be able to revisit this planet. I don't care about owning a piece of it or, you know, whatever. So yeah, that's what a lot of these things are, more just ways of like marking a particular space. So yeah, this base is called, yes, it's called the Bodacious, what did I call it? The Bodacious, I can't even remember. Bodacious Beta Quadrant Barbecue Deck. I called it the Beta, it's the Beta Quadrant because in the overall view of the map of the galaxy, the upper right quadrant, just going alpha, beta, whatchamacallit, you know. Anyway, and then also just this is a planet with fairly pleasant weather. I think it only storms very occasionally here, and I wanted to just like build a little observation deck here because there was a really nice view from here. That's a trading post way down there, and yeah, this is like, you know, just a semi-open thing with like two little chairs, and yeah, you just teleport straight out of it. And yeah, you can like walk up on the stairs here and be on the upper story. But either way, yeah, and it has like this sort of vivid red grass, which is nice looking. And yeah, you can watch ships like come in and land at the trading post there. Little ships going by there. Oh gosh, guys, did you just buzz the side of that cliff? Yeah, and there's like a tiny little room that I built that has like a couple of usable objects in it and stuff. And yeah, it's up on this big plateau. That's one feature of this planet, as you can see, is like it has these very tall plateaus and also these like deep sunken crater type things, much like Mount Loper had. The actual style of geometry feels pretty similar to Mount Loper, actually. It's just a completely different type of planet, you know, with these sort of fall colors and lush red grass and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the Bodacious Beta Quadrant Barbecue Deck. And yeah, I always got to put my little message ball here to be like, hey, visit my website and see my other bases if you like this website. So I don't know. This is actually a glitch. Like I built these little wooden floor pieces, and was like, and then it clears the ground beneath it. But then because the terrain regenerates, this stuff came back, and so I have like this red grass growing up through the floorboards, which I actually honestly just like, just because it looks sort of neat and weird. But yeah. All right, so that's that base. Where should we go next? Yeah, Yoshi's Island 2 is... so, yeah, I actually started a second save game right around the time that the next update came out. And I played around and whatever, and I was in a different part of the galaxy. And I ended up finding a particularly cool planet and built a base on it. And then more recently, I logged the planet's location and traveled there the long way in my main save game. And yeah, and I built another base here just so that I could revisit it like this. And yeah, it's this planet has it's possible we will see one as soon as I exit from this teleporter. But it has pretty much just straight up dinosaurs on it. And so I called it Yoshi's Island because Yoshi is a dinosaur. Although Yoshi is a nice dinosaur, whereas the dinosaurs that are occasionally on this little island are not nice. This is a ruin. I did not build this. This is actually a procedurally placed ruin prefab type thing. And you can see it has this kind of ancient temple sort of feel that's really different from like the, present day structures that are all sci-fi looking. And I really like that these are here. That's like a crumbled statue of a Gek, one of the game's races. And yeah, this planet has like these cool floating islands. Basically, some of the islands are connected with the land. And yeah, as you can see, like the oceans, like that's like a cluster of giant purple clams that you can swim down to and like collect pearls from, craft stuff with them, sell them for money. Yeah, and it has like these similar to what we saw in the Black Rose base planet, like these long squiggly plateau things, as well as just some floating islands. Yeah, so I just kind of wanted and I built a little dock, little ship dock there. And yeah, I wanted to build a base on a ruin with a cool view on this planet that I liked and had some fond memories of. So yeah, that's Yoshi's Island. And yeah, I don't actually see any. I don't see any beasties. Yeah, I think I was still in progress building out a little deck here, but. And yeah, there's there's creatures, I'm sure. Yeah, there's these little these plants which you can harvest them for kelp sacks. Steiger always refers to these as IKEA lamps because there's various lamps that IKEA makes that it kind of looks like it. And yeah, you can actually just grab these plants with your hands instead of harvest them, and that just replenishes your oxygen. So yeah, the Abyss update added a whole bunch of cool stuff, like I guess that geothermal vent over there. Ooh yeah, this is like an underwater cave. It can be pretty spooky to explore these, I'll tell you. Yeah, I don't want to be in the way of that vent. Yeah, some creatures swimming around there. Some jellies. Squiggly jellies. Alright, yeah, that's the shore. And yeah, I guess after the Visions update, this planet's water changed color to red. Yeah, just vivid red water. I think it used to be like blue or something, but yeah. Yeah, and like kind of a golden grass. Yeah, Visions kind of, it didn't regenerate the terrain or anything, or the planet biomes, but it did like create a lot more wild color variations and stuff like that. So yeah. Okay, so that's Yoshi's Island. Let's see. Again, anything that I'm not going to here is somebody else's base. Yeah, I think that might be just about all of the places I've been to. Yeah, these are bases back in the Galactic Hub Capital World. So yeah, actually let me go back to... Is there anything I've missed here? There's one thing, but I'll save it for last, maybe. So JP's old home is actually the original base. Base building was added in November of 2016 during what was called the Foundation update. And after a lot of searching for a cool planet, I found it. I found a planet that had a relatively those IKEA lamp plants that are underwater. Those in the Foundation update era, those were actually pretty hard to find, and so I found this ice planet that had those plants on it, and so I was like, cool. Let me just build a base here because this is a relatively cool planet, and I'm going to I'm going to build a base here because back in those days you could only have one base in the entire galaxy. So I was like, yeah, this seems like a good place. During the what was it? Either the Pathfinder or Atlas Rises update, that planet regenerated into a lush world with like blue grass and orange hills and stuff. It was very pretty. And I took a bunch of screenshots of it before it regenerated into what it is now, which is an anomaly world. And there are many different types of these as of the Visions update. But yeah, this is a planet that looks quite different from anything else that we've seen. And it in the game's fiction, it's actually like sort of a glitch. Like there was some sort of like reality level corruption happening that caused this planet to look the way that it does. And so yeah, there's just all these like ominous looking like shattered steel or whatever pillars. And so yeah, I was a little bit bummed to see that my beautiful paradise world had turned into this, but it is fairly neat, And yeah, and so I just restored my old base in the exact same place. So this is actually what the base that I had back then still looks like. I've basically just kind of left it as it is. And these are my base specialists. These are like NPCs that you can hire, and then they come and live in your base. And they give you different quests, and they each have their own little cool storyline, and it leads to unlocking cooler and cooler technologies that you can build and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so let's see. Yeah, and I left little message balls all around this place to kind of document it. Yeah, this world has had many incarnations. Let's see. And basically what the message balls do here is they document, yeah, Foundation and Pathfinder era, icy and oceanic. So yeah, it was originally an ice planet, as I've explained. My home world for over 2 years now. I guess I could revise this and say over 3 years now, almost. Then yeah, where's the other message ball? Yeah, Atlas Rises era, lush blue grass and lakes. And yeah. And yeah, these plants I actually planted during the Atlas Rises era. They wouldn't normally grow in this soil, but they haven't been... The game did not delete them because they were already growing, and my save game just, restored them in that state. So yeah, I can harvest them and they will grow back. But if I tore these up, I wouldn't be able to replant them there. So yeah. And this, as of the Visions update, also added very, very unusual anomaly creatures, actually, which was pretty cool to see, because obviously before, this planet did not have any life on it whatsoever. All right, I think there's one of them up here. So yeah, this planet, oh yeah, there's one right there. So yeah, it's just like this floating crystal thing, and I think it's kind of timid. Yeah, like it runs away, or floats away whenever you get near it. So yeah, they're fairly shy. I don't know if I can feed them necessarily, but yeah. Wow, wait a minute. How have I not discovered them? Digs for tubers. Hears ground vibrations, says my miscellaneous notes. It's friendly, fortunately. Yeah, so yeah, that's all pretty wild. And yeah, this planet has been through so many changes. But you know, at this point, I'm somewhat attached to it. You know, so even if this does regenerate into a different planet, you know, next Wednesday, I still definitely want to have a base here, and it'll just be one more series of changes that it goes through. And actually, sort of significant of that, I called this planet Watauga 9. 9 just to give it like sort of a cool sci-fi feeling. Watauga because that is actually the name of the town that I grew up in Texas. I like the first, you know, basically until I went to college, I lived there full time. And yeah, like my parents don't live there anymore, so you know, it's basically a place that has been kind of lost to time for me. And so I named this planet after it after it had regenerated a few times, just to show that, like, yeah, when you go back home, you don't, you know, it's not the same place anymore. Like, the world is always changing. And so, yeah, like, I've kind of taken the No Man's Sky, you know, universe regenerates regularly as sort of like a reminder that real life places change. You know, the city that I live in is certainly changing a bunch. You know, I moved here like, you know, I guess 9 years ago, and it's certainly changed a lot since then, and will continue to change. You know, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's a concept that I have a whole lot of feelings about. A mod, a game that I still want to finish and release someday, called Autobiographical Architecture, dwells on that a lot, and kind of ties it in with old game spaces and stuff. But yeah, this is my original base, and I still kind of consider it my home planet, my home base, and all that. So yeah. So I think there's only like one more base of mine that I haven't visited yet. And this is something that, you know, I got this game, I think the day that it came out on PC, on Steam. And I actually, yeah, I got it to go on the Video Games Hot Dog podcast to talk about with the other, yeah, with Jim Storm Dancer and the other folks who do that podcast. And yeah, and I got it and played it, you know, for like, I don't know, maybe like 10 hours or so. And I watched Steiger play it for a lot longer because they were having fun with it. And yeah, and then I sort of, you know, like lost, you know, I went out and explored the galaxy and all that kind of stuff. And I completely forgot about the level, the planet, rather, that I started the game on. And you know, and then I started, like, you know, once I had put, like, you know, a year or two of just sort of emotional investment into this game, I started thinking, yeah, what about that planet that I started on? Like, whatever happened to that? And so I tracked down what I'm fairly certain is the original planet that I started on. And when you start a new game in No Man's Sky, you're actually you're near your own crashed ship. And you have to, like, get it working and get off the planet for the first time and all that. Yeah, and so I found this planet and flew over it and saw that it had now become like an irradiated. It wasn't a pleasant planet when I started on it back in the day. You know, it was you know, it was sort of radioactive, and whatever. But and yeah, and so I found it in a somewhat similar state, and I decided to just build a little marker, basically a small base here and a marker. Yeah, with like a note of the date. And yeah, like I built it near a crashed ship. This is not my actual crashed first ship, but you do occasionally find these shipwrecks on the planet, and you can you can actually like take one of these ships that you find crashed and fix it up. It's a whole bunch of work and resources, but you can fix it if you like the ship. Then you can just make it your own and basically repair it from scrap, basically. So yeah, this was like, I don't know, the experience of like refinding where my whole trip into this world had begun was a fun, and there was just something kind of emotionally compelling about it to me. Because yeah, like I had just almost forgotten about it, but it was like, yeah, there was that one planet, and this is kind of what the Vista looked like. When I did take a few screenshots from my earliest sessions with the game, so I have a little bit of evidence of what I was doing and what things looked like then. But yeah. So yeah, that is kind of a tour of all of my No Man's Sky bases. I have like a couple of other bases, but they're not quite as interesting to look at. But yeah, that's kind of what I got here. Again, I don't know if this is all just going to disappear on Wednesday. If it does, I'm sure it would be for a good reason, and that the dev team, has a bunch of really cool improvements to make to the world generation. So I would welcome that. But I kind of just want a photograph or some video basically to hang on to. So yeah, thank you for joining me on that journey and listening to me ramble about all my little star bases, all my little space houses. Yeah. Well, gosh, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I would definitely love to stream more of this game. I think when Steiger and I get our AV setup fully worked out, we can both be talking on the stream and playing together and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's kind of all I got for now. I will see some of y'all in the Beyond, which will have all kinds of cool social hub features. I think it's going to make it a lot easier to do things like visit somebody's cool base. Oh, actually, you know what? Yeah, let me... There's one more base that I want to show you, and some of you have probably seen it if you follow me on Twitter, or if you follow Sean Murray on Twitter, because he retweeted it when I... so yeah, let me go back out to Mode Select. All right, so this is another save game of mine, and yeah, you can see the just disgusting amount of time that I've put into this game. Yeah, let me boot into creative mode here. So creative mode is a whole other game mode that gives you a whole different save. And the thing about that is that there's no danger to you, and you have effectively infinite resources. Anything that normally costs something is free, and so you can just build to your heart's content, hence creative mode. Lots of games have this. Subnautica has a good one, etc. And I was like, yeah, I should build something in creative mode. What would be a cool thing to build in creative mode? One thing that I would like to build, and I will definitely post about it everywhere if I do, is I definitely want to recreate Doom E1M1 in No Man's Sky in creative mode. I haven't done that yet, but maybe once the Beyond update hits, I'll do that. But yeah, so I posted about this on Twitter, like, I don't know, a few weeks ago when I did it. This is a respectably accurate, let's say, recreation of the Taco Bell in Pacifica, California, and it is, as I think I say in my post, an unreasonably picturesque Taco Bell, because it really is. So Pacifica, California is right on the Pacific coast, right along Highway 1. Is running past north to south, and there's a Taco Bell. And it doesn't look like a normal Taco Bell. It's got like kind of this wood construction with these sort of diagonal lines. It doesn't quite look futuristic in the way that I've built, because I built this out of just No Man's Sky base pieces. But it has a back, the inside of it, they recently renovated it, and it like serves margaritas and stuff in addition to, usual Taco Bell fare. The inside of it is nice. It has like kind of these skylights and stuff. You know, it's pretty comfy as far as fast food joints go. And it has this deck out on the back where you can just go out and like just be standing like basically on a beach, like a stone's throw from the Pacific Ocean. And there's usually like surfers and stuff, like just catching waves and stuff. You can look all up and down the beach, and there's like a nice hill that rises up. So basically I found this planet and was like, yeah, this is like a nice planet. And I just decided to look for a stretch of coastline where I could build a reasonable facsimile of the Pacifica Taco Bell. This is like just a little bathroom type thing. No Man's Sky does not yet have toilets. I don't know. I was like, is there anything I can do to represent the three seashells from Demolition Man as an alternative future toilet? There wasn't really, but whatever. This is the counter where you order, obviously. There's like little robot workers here. And yeah, this is like the menu items behind here. I'm definitely not the first person to have built a fast food chain in No Man's Sky. That honor, I believe, goes to Galaxy Donuts, which has locations all across the Euclid galaxy that you should check out. But yeah, this was just a funny, goofy thing. And yeah, like I just kind of built it one Saturday. Like it didn't take that, it was a relatively easy build. I found the location, built it, and then the next day. The next day I posted about it on Twitter, and then Sean Murray, the one of the founders of Hello Games, saw it and retweeted it, so it got some attention. I think it even got written up by a few. I mean, like it was a Sunday, so I'm sure that was like a slow news day for a lot of game websites, and also people found out about the actual Taco Bell, and so they were doing like the side-by-side thing. And actually that weekend is when the Taco Bell had reopened as a Taco Bell Cantina, which serves the margaritas and like just some extra stuff that a normal Taco Bell doesn't serve. And so that's the next day, that Sunday, we were like, hey, yeah, like let's go out somewhere, it's like a nice day or something. And we ended up driving down to the actual Pacifica Taco Bell and going there. And because it had just been remodeled, it was absolutely slammed. It was completely slammed. So we ended up waiting a while for, to get like just a couple of tacos and like some, they were out of margarita. So I'm guessing that they've got all that straightened out now and that it's not just, obnoxiously busy. But anyway, it was sort of a trip just building this thing and then going to the real life version of it, and just also just having something go viral like that and get acknowledged by the game's creator and stuff like that. So anyway, this is a good one to sign off with. This is the Pacifica Taco Bell from Creative Mode in Euclid Galaxy. This is also on my little the page on my website that has all my No Man's Sky bases. You can visit all of these. Let's go ahead and quit to desktop here. You can visit all of these silly places. I guess I took a screenshot for some reason. So what I've got here are the portal glyphs. So if you collect all of these glyphs in the course of playing the single-player game, you can, and you find a portal somewhere, you can punch these in and it will take you right there. The galactic coordinates, this is like the actual hexadecimal numeric representation of what those portal glyphs are, and you can use a website called Pilgrim Star Path to find them, to find them as well. But yeah, it's just sort of like a little, document of some of these bases that I've shown you. But yeah, and then I've also got my travelogue on Mastodon. If you wanna, Mastodon's a pretty cool place. It's less obnoxious than Twitter in a lot of ways, and I'm keeping that running travelogue. So yeah, and if you do visit my bases and you find a bunch of the gold Diplos that I've hidden, then like, just acknowledge, like, I don't know, just knowing that somebody bothered to find those, I would definitely be tickled by it. But do whatever you like and enjoy. I'm just building the stuff, to amuse myself and maybe amuse other people. But yeah, that's about all I got for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. This weird documentation experience of mine. And yeah, I'm looking forward to streaming more No Man's Sky in the future with my partner and maybe some other buddies and stuff. And yeah, maybe I'll see some of you around. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all around.